Hello, my authors. Today I'm going to go over a subject that is one of the most controversial subjects in regards to writing, and that is plot. Many of my writers get incredibly intimidated and anxious about having to create an original plot, and it stresses them out to no end until they discover that there are no unique plots. Even if someone were to go and try to create their own completely unique plot, they would find that there are many books that have the same structure. I recently was watching an interview with Lee Child, who's a New York best-time seller, and he was saying that there are no unique plots. He gives a very good example to show that there's these ancient plots that have been going on for a very long time that are the same as the plots of today. There's a famous Greek myth of Theseus and the Minotaur. Theseus has some unrelated dramatic action happening in the beginning. He has to go off to some far world, Crete, and he seduces a woman who gives him a ball of yarn so that he can get out of a maze and defeat the Minotaur. He goes into the maze using the ball of yarn and slays the Minotaur and uses the ball of yarn and follows the string to leave and escape the maze. Now, does that sound familiar to you? No? All right. Here is the same plot for James Bond. Almost every James Bond novel has this plot. He has some action that has nothing to do with his mission. He's given all of these gadgets from Q for his mission.
Than you can do in a year in the field.
Then he seduces some woman, goes off into some other far-off land, defeats the bad guy, and then comes home. Essentially, the same bones, just different costumes. Now, I would try to use a different analogy, but Lee Child has such a great analogy to plot structures. He basically refers it to as a rental car. And this is such a great idea because basically you're using the rental car to get you where you're trying to go. But all of the routes on the way, any of the detours, the people that are in the car, the conversation, all of those things are completely unique to your story. So when someone's reading a novel and they feel like they're reading the same book as they read recently in another novel, it's not because of the plot. It's actually because the detours, the characters, and everything that was related to the novel was just too similar. So it felt like they were just following along in the same story. Now, the thing is, readers love to read comparable novels. It's actually good to have a world built around comparable novels to other novels. In fact, when you go to sell your book or you're trying to get a publisher or a literary agent, you'll say it's comparable to this, that, and that. It's a magic book compared to Fourth Wing. It's similar to ACOTAR, right? You have all of these comparables so that the reader knows that they're going to like the type of story that you're writing. You have this plot structure that takes you to where you're trying to go, but you need to really also create on your unique characters and really make them real to the reader and make them seem different enough to where they're feeling like they're reading a completely different story. It's basically like your reader loves to go stay in hotels and they know what to expect. They go in there and they're not going to expect a wall to be missing. They will go in and they know what to expect. They know there's going to be a bed there. They know it's going to be comfortable, but it might be different from hotel to hotel. And therefore it's a different experience because the colors are different. The lighting is different. It's set up in a different way. So you can see it's the same structure, but it's set up in a different way to where it feels completely unique at the same time. So now let's get into what you've been waiting for. What is plot? So plot is not just a bunch of random actions, but it's actually how the character goes from the beginning of the book to a completely changed character at the end of the book. So you're helping guide specific actions to achieve that end. So one of the most practical frameworks of this is from the book Save the Cat. If you haven't read this already, it's a really great read. Many authors reference this, and it's used in movies for playwrights and novelists now, and it's one of the most basic plot structures that there is. The idea from the Save the Cat structure is very simple. It basically just has 15 major beats within your story, and these fall within a certain percentage of your story. So at a certain point in your book, you'll have some chapters, some more pages, and then you have another beat. These are not just placed at random, but they're actual points that are specifically put there to help the emotional impact for the reader. So to give you an example, I'm not going to go over all of the beats, but essentially you have 4 separate acts. So in the first act, you have the setup. Who's the protagonist? What's their world like? I'm going back to the start. And then something changes to make them think, I think I'm going to go over on the other side of that hill to see what's going on over there.
Just over that hill.
Then you have the what I like to call fun and games section, where the protagonist is now going onto the other side of the hill and discovering a whole new world that's out there.
What else is out there?
And then you have the next act, which is where the bad guys seem like they're closing in on the protagonist, and all hell is about to break loose.
And my undies. Good thing I brought extras.
Then you have the next act and the final act, or the finale, where the main protagonist has to somehow overcome these horrible bad guys. It seems like it's completely impossible, and they very well might die, but somehow they overcome these bad guys. And then you have just the remaining conclusions of what is the world like for the protagonist now that they're on the other side of the hill and the bad guys are dead.
We won! We won! We won!
So this is basically all that plot is. You have this basic structure to help guide you from your character starting here and ending at the end of the book. Now, if you want to use the Save the Cat plot, I've actually created a beat sheet for you guys, and you can get that in the description box below so that it can help you with the 15 major beats within your book and where they should be placed. The biggest thing I want you guys to walk away from this is really establishing your characters, establishing a whole different world, and who are the monsters in your story. I hope this video helped you. If it did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe so I can make more videos like this. Comment below on whatever projects you're working on right now. I'll see you next time. Bye.
Fading